Good morning, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. This should be a pretty quick video. I just read The Witch Boy by Molly Ostertag. I read this last night, read it in one sitting as sort of a palate cleanser actually after I read Kindred by Octavia Butler, which was an amazing read, but also really difficult to read. And so I was like, I just need something quick and relatively light. So this is a middle grade graphic novel. And before I get into talking about it briefly, the reason that I wanted to make a video about it was because it's causing an existential crisis in me about how I sort of rate books. And doesn't even need to be a numerical rating, but how do I describe how I feel about a book? And the reason it's doing that is because like everything about this book, I was like, I am going to love this book. This book is like designed for me. It's going to be fantastic. And then I read it and it was like, I can't point to anything specific really that doesn't make it a 5-star book. But it doesn't feel like a 5-star book. And so now I'm like, oh my God, what is wrong with me? And I'm also wondering about the middle grade aspect because I think I might just be developmentally too far away from middle grade, maybe, to appropriately appreciate a middle grade book. Is that even a thing? And so when I'm thinking about this, I'm like, my heart wants to give this like a 3 or a 3.5 star. You know, wants to say like, it was good, but like, I don't need to keep it on my shelves or reread it again, you know, that sort of thing. So my heart wants to do that, but then I'm like, but I don't want to give it, I guess it's like the public thing. I don't want to give it a public rating that brings down the average on places like Goodreads and Storygraph because I think this book, again, there's nothing specific that makes me say like it's not a blow me away book. And for preteens, I'm like, this book could be life-changing. You know, it could be the best book ever. And like, not even for genderqueer preteens, which I haven't even said what this book is about. It explores gender stereotypes. But yeah, so not even for like genderqueer or questioning preteens, but just like for all, I mean, it's like, it's a lovely graphic novel. And so I'm like, man, if I read this when I was 12, would I have given it 5 stars? And so now my brain is just going in this loop. So if you read middle grade or even YA, I don't feel like I have this problem with YA. I don't really, my assessing YA books is pretty easy for me. So this is just a middle grade problem to me, but it might be a YA problem for some other people. If you read middle grade or YA, how do you think about your reactions to it as an adult versus what you think you might have thought about it if you were still developmentally middle grade? I hope that question makes sense. But just how do you rate? And do you take into account that fact that you're not the developmental audience for a book when you are thinking about rating it? So then, just a teeny bit about this book. So this book is focused on Aster, the boy on the cover, and he is part of an extended family of magic users. And it's not the only family in the world. They do reference some other families that are magical families as well. But so his whole extended family essentially lives in a compound. They have like a huge house where they live and do their learning and everything. It's magically warded by a magical boundary so that the kids who aren't, practiced yet can learn in a safe environment. And then it's very stereotyped by gender. So the girls all grow up to be witches. So they do spells and potions. And the boys grow up to be shapeshifters. They can take on the shape of spirit animals, essentially, or animals through a connection with spirits, something like that. And Aster has not learned to shapeshift yet, and he's starting to get a little bit old for it. So it's the sort of thing that I guess comes on with puberty, and so there's usually, it can vary over a few years when the boys start to shapeshift. And he's old enough that he maybe should have shapeshifted by now. He's sort of been going through that age, and it hasn't happened. And he can do the female magic. He can do the witchy magic. And he's actually way more interested in it than he is in shapeshifting. So he's always spying on the classes that his sisters and cousins are in and just like taking notes about all the spells and stuff. And then he sort of does them in secret. And he's really good at it. And so he's having like this total crisis of identity because he really wants to do the witch magic and he doesn't want to be a shapeshifter, but everyone around him is telling him, well, the witch magic is forbidden for you. It's always been that way. You can't do the girl magic and terrible things will happen if you do. And then there is sort of like a family lore of an older family member who's the twin brother of Aster's grandmother, who disappeared a long time ago before Aster and the other kids were born. And the way the family story goes is that he was trying to use the female magic. He was trying to be a witch and it like twisted him and turned him sort of evil, and he stole one of the like powerful artifacts owned by this family and ran away. And so Aster's sort of growing up with all this like horrible messaging and really questioning his identity and how he fits into the family. And at one point in the story, he's talking to a non-magical friend and like is really at a dark place in his life. You know, he's thinking about doing something particularly dangerous and stupid in an attempt to try to fit in and like get the shape-shifting powers that haven't emerged in him yet. So it's a very real story about gender stereotypes and how difficult it is to be somebody who doesn't fit those and be in a family and in a culture where people are reinforcing that messaging so strongly. The book does have a happy ending. I feel like I can say that without spoilers. I mean, it is middle grade and it's, you know, uplifting and empowering. So yeah, so like it's good, but it just didn't do it for me. There wasn't magic here, and I feel like there should have been, and so that's why I'm really struggling with how I think about this book. Um, so I will end there, I think, but I'm really curious about your thoughts down below, how you rate middle grade or YA, or how, even if you don't use a like numeric ranking, like a star system, just how do you think about your reactions to books that are written for a different developmental audience? All right, I hope this video made sense. I'm gonna go keep wrestling with this book. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.